In the headlines, troops kill 6, arrest dozens of Boko Haram market in Borno. Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi meets Afenifere Southern and Middle Belt leaders. Cholera kills 91 in 31 states as 12 die of monkeypox. Court jails U.S. Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband for drunk driving charge. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for joining. And now the details. Beginning with security matters, troops of the 21 Armored Brigade in Bama have reportedly killed 6 soldiers, Boko Haram insurgents during a raid on an illegal market established by the terrorists in Bama local government area of Borno State. Reports say that the operation took place on Wednesday at about 11 a.m. when the troops, in collaboration with the Civilian Joint Task Force, stormed the illegal market known as Daula Market at Bararam village in Bama. The traders were reportedly selling items such as maize, beans, salt, Maggi, used clothes, drugs and petrol to the insurgents in exchange for scrap metals. The suspects have reportedly been transferred to the brigade headquarters in Bama for investigation. Police in Yobe State have paraded 2 suspected soldiers and 3 others in connection to the alleged murder of Islamic cleric Sheikh Goni Aisami Gashua along Gashua-Kano Road in the state. The soldiers are Lance Corporal John Gabriel and Lance Corporal Adamu Gideon, both of Reki Battalion, Nguru, Yobe State. Police spokesperson Dungus Abdul Karim said that the suspects will be charged to court. The principal suspect, Lance Corporal Gabriel, admitted to the crime and explained how he killed the cleric and seized his car. According to a statement signed by Army spokesperson of the Operation Hardin K, Kennedy Anyao, any soldier found wanting will face the wrath of the law. Speaker of the House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila says electoral crimes, if not addressed, can subvert the democratic will of the electorates and enthrone corrupt leadership. Gbajabiamila stated this on Tuesday during a one-day public hearing on a bill for an act to establish the National Electoral Offences Commission. The report.
The bill for an act to establish the National Electoral Offences Commission is a critical legislation which has been part of all national conversations on constitution and electoral reforms for the last 13 years. This gathering is aimed at getting the inputs and opinions of stakeholders to take necessary legislative steps to address identified challenges and block loopholes in the conduct of elections. Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, who was represented by his deputy, Idris Wase, noted that electoral offences are self-inflicted injuries that should be avoided at all cost.
One will acknowledge that even our recent governorship elections in Ikiti and Osun State signifies milestone in Nigeria's democratic evolution. There is no doubt that a lot of work still needs to be done.
Provisions of the consolidated bill currently before the House of Representatives seeks to establish a commission that will be in charge of investigating and prosecuting electoral offences created under the bill or any other law related to electoral offences.
In our view, having the commission in place and functional will no doubt enhance the credibility of the electoral process and contribute immensely to the nation's drive to have free, fair and credible polls, since the provision in the enabling law will serve as a disincentive to those wishing to perpetrate electoral offences.
Stakeholders, while considering the 46 clause bill, are also recommending that jurisdiction and special powers of the court include electoral offences tribunal.
However, there were still observed issues, malpractices, especially during the electioneering processes, the most common being the issue of voter buying and manipulation of electorates.
When offenses are identified and prescribed in a law, it's important that the punishment for it be commensurate with the offense identified. Looking at the Electoral Offences Commission propositions here, it includes that the proposal that says that at least 20 years imprisonment for ballot snatching. I think that is overwhelming.
However, the Economic Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, kicked against the bill, suggesting that existing law enforcement agencies should be strengthened to achieve maximum output rather than creating a new agency for investigating and prosecuting electoral offences.
It's our position that there's no need to create an agency solely for the purpose of investigating and prosecuting electoral offences, most especially when our electoral processes is seasonal in nature, meaning that the elections are held once in 4 years in the country.
The submissions gathered by the committee will be presented to the House upon resumption.
The House of Representatives Committee on National Security and Intelligence on Tuesday began investigation into the attack at the Kuje Correctional Center that led to the escape of 64 inmates. The committee's chairman, Sha'aban Sharada, on Tuesday in Abuja said that the House resolution to investigate the attack was sequel to a motion moved at the plenary. He said that the House had on July inaugurated a joint committee on national security in the wake of the attack to investigate and come up with possible recommendations that will forestall a reoccurrence. Sharada said that the committee will ascertain the roles played by security and intelligence agencies in the security breach and proffer ways to mitigate against reoccurrence. Presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, on Tuesday met with leader of Afenifere, Ayo Adebanjo, and members of the South and Middle Belt Leadership Forum. In a tweet about the event, the former Anambra State Governor also noted that the national leaders of the Labour Party and other stakeholders were present at the meeting. Although the agenda of the meeting was not disclosed, it is most likely to be about the 2023 general elections. Reports say that Adebanjo and the South and Middle Belt Leadership Forum have been critical of both the All Progressives Congress and the People's Democratic Party and may consider backing Obi for president. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, for the first time on Wednesday, physically attended the Federal Executive Council meeting at the council chambers of the State House in Abuja after a successful surgical operation on July 16th at a private hospital in Ikeja, Lagos. He underwent the surgery after fracture in his leg, an injury he sustained while playing squash. Osinbajo, who was discharged on July 25th, has been recuperating at home and attending official functions virtually. The Vice President was welcomed by ministers and presidential aides at the Federal Cabinet meeting presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari. Also in attendance at the FEC meeting are Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustapha, Chief of Staff to the President, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, and the National Security Advisor, Retired Major General Babagana Mongunu. Ministers attending physically include Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, Federal Capital Territory, Mohammed Bello, Communications and Digital Economy, Isa Pantami, among others. Head of Service of the Federation, Dr. Folashade Yemiesa, and other ministers are participating online in the weekly council meeting from their various offices in Abuja. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has said that a total of 3,610 suspected cases of cholera, including 91 deaths, have been recorded in 31 states this year. The Director General, NCDC, Ifedayo Adetifa, disclosed this Tuesday during the ministerial press briefing by the Ministry of Health. He said of the suspected cases since the beginning of the year, the age group less than 5 years was the most affected age group for male and female. Adetifa also said that from January 1 to August 14, there were 530 suspected cases of monkeypox, 220 confirmed cases, and 4 deaths from 29 states, while saying that there is currently no case of Marburg virus disease in Nigeria. He said Nigeria had the capacity to test for the virus at the National Reference Laboratory in Abuja and the University of Lagos Teaching Hospital Laboratory Center for Human and Zoonotic Virology. Still on health matters, the National Primary Health Care Development Agency and the Southwest Traditional Leaders Committee on Primary Health Care have committed to strengthening routine immunization and promote the health and well-being of community members at the grassroots. They made the commitment at the maiden quarterly review meeting designed to highlight plans and achievements of primary health care service delivery in the region. Trust TV's Aisha Salihu has more.
The traditional institution remains one of the viable means to reach community members in areas of health and socio-economic well-being by engaging traditional leaders in role modeling, community advocacy, mobilization and sensitization, resource mobilization, and monitoring of preventive diseases through operational guidelines and intervention of primary health care service.
You know your communities, you know their needs, you know their concerns. When they are brought to the partnership of NPHCDA and the rest of the health partners contributing, that's when they get the answers they need, that's when they get the support they need.
Polio response, COVID-19 immunization, routine immunization, maternal and child health, all these are critical areas that WHO looks at very critically and works very hard to ensure that the service delivery is done.
The Federal Ministry of Health, in collaboration with the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, is therefore soliciting continuous help of traditional rulers from the southwestern region of the country and leveraging their influence in its quest to reach out to rural communities with the messages of immunization and other primary healthcare services that would improve the health and well-being of the population.
Traditional fathers are the drivers of education and health. And it is in that respect that we continue to seek this collaboration and cooperation with our royal fathers.
Their performances, especially around childhood immunization, COVID-19, all the other indicators around maternal and child care, because we know that once citizens hear from them, then they will know that the information is factual.
In his remarks, the Oni of Ife and Chairman Southwest Traditional Leaders Committee on Primary Healthcare, Oba Adeyeye Ogunwusi, promised to mobilize the traditional rulers across the 6 states in the Southwest geopolitical zone and other stakeholders to ensure that sensitization and benefits of immunization and other primary healthcare services is taken to rural communities.
And we're using the primary healthcare platform to reach out to them. And so far, so good. The MOUs is working, and we are not talking the talk, but we are walking the walk.
The engagement is part of the implementation of the Memorandum of Understanding on the systemic engagement of traditional leaders in the works of the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, particularly at the grassroots level. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
You're watching Trust News Update. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at breaking ethno-religious barriers. Details of this and more after the break. Welcome back. You're watching the news update on Trust Television. Here is a reminder of our top stories. Troops kill 6, arrest dozens at Boko Haram market in Borno. Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi meets with Afenifere Southern and Middle Belt leaders. In other news, the Federal High Court in Abuja has faulted the decision by the National Executive Council of the Nigerian Bar Association to ratify the suspension of NBA's General Secretary Joyce Odua. In a ruling on Tuesday, Justice Ahmed Mohammed voided the ratification by NBA NEC of Odua's suspension by the NBA's National Executive Committee. Justice Mohammed was of the view that the NBA's NEC, which ratified Odua's suspension, acted in bad faith and in utter disregard of the proceedings of the court. The judge upheld Odua's lawyer's contention that the ratification affected by NBA NEC at its meeting on August 21 ought not to have been carried out in view of the pendency of a suit by the suspended General Secretary challenging her suspension. The Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, in collaboration with 70 other organizations, on Tuesday held the grand finale of its Citizens Summit on National Integration, Peace and Security. The need to foster national integration, rebuild peace and strengthen security in the country gave rise to the summit, which the NIPR President Mukhtar Sirajo describes as a solution-driven initiative to address issues of national cohesion and reconciliation. The report.
The conference is designed to bridge the widening trust gap between the leaders and the citizens, as well as amongst the citizens, through promotion of national integration and enhancement of cross-country peaceful coexistence. Chairperson of the summit, Dere Awoshika, in a keynote address, says the glue that bands nation together is national integration.
On a regional landscape, the African Continental Free Trade Agreement has been able to gradually ensure the seamless trade of goods and services between countries with their various regional bodies. It is my utmost belief that a similar system needs to be put in place within the country.
President Muhammadu Buhari, represented by the Minister of Information and Culture, said the concept of reopen conversation, rebuild trust as the summit's theme could not have come at a better time, as Nigeria is still battling the problem of insecurity, fake news and misinformation.
This summit couldn't have come at a better time, with the issues of peace, security and national unity on the front burner of our national discourse. In recent times, in particular, the issues of peace and security have been on the lips of many Nigerians against the backdrop of rampaging terrorists, bandits, and kidnappers. I want to say that under the purposeful leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari, who has directed the military to crush those terrorists, those terrorizing our citizens, peace and security are gradually being restored to the country.
The chief host and minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mohammed Bello, said the NIPR is in a critical position to push the message of peace and national integration to Nigeria.
These challenges, as daunting as they may seem, are certainly not insurmountable, and it's common knowledge that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari has displayed a strong and unwavering commitment in resolving them, particularly in our indivisibility as a nation. As public relations experts and perception managers, the NIPR is in the best position to push forward this approach of uniting us, identifying the factors that divide us.
The summit featured a presentation of reports of the Zonal Dialogue Series, unveiling of the new NIPR logo, and representations from relevant MDAs and non-governmental organizations in Nigeria. Martia Umar, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, Christians and Muslims in Jos North local government area of Plateau State are breaking the ethno-religious barriers that polarized the state capital along ethno-religious lines following the crisis that swept over the state in 2001. Adamu Musa takes a look at how people are defying ethno-religious barriers.
Years after the first crisis in the city center of Jos in 2001, where thousands were killed and many more displaced, confidence between Christians and Muslims is beginning to resurface. The 2001 crisis, which falls along ethno-religious lines, took away the beauty of peaceful coexistence between the many people of the once peaceful town. The recurrence of the ethno-religious conflicts has further polarized Jos into Christian and Muslim communities. Many think that those who leave their areas to other communities for whatever reason usually put their lives at risk, considering the nature of the crisis in the state. However, despite the upward trend of separation and segregation among the warring communities, which resulted to insecurity, there are people who are still breaking the ethno-religious barriers in the state, especially in Jos. They said it is easier to live in harmony than in crisis. I do come from a Christian community of Faringada area to Angorogo to sell roasted maize for almost 10 years now. Despite the recurrence of the crisis in Jos, nobody has ever threatened to kill or intimidate me. My prayer is, let there be peace so that there will be development. There is still hope that we can still mingle with one another. There's no day that I will not come here except if I'm not well. I have been coming here for the past 5 years and nothing has happened to me. If you really want to do business, you must mingle with people of other faiths or ethnic groups. Business doesn't know religion or tribe. Any day I don't come, they ask for my whereabouts. Our relationship is very cordial in spite of what happened in the past. I come here and spend hours selling onions. Nothing has ever happened to me. I go around this area. I was never abused, not to talk of attempting to kill. The fact that there was crisis, some people have forgot what has happened. I call on people to know that we are all created for a purpose. We should embrace one another for the sake of peace and unity. I believe that sooner or later, people will realize that it is better to live with one another, irrespective of our differences. Various individuals and groups also pray that Jos residents will understand the power of unity and living in peace with one another for the development of the state. From Jos, Adamu Musa reporting for Trust TV.
Presidential candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party, Rabiu Kwankwaso, wants rehabilitation of Apapa Port Access Road in Lagos State fast-tracked to address traffic congestion. Kwankwaso made the call at a town hall meeting with maritime stakeholders on Tuesday in Lagos. According to him, the country really needs to plan for the future of the maritime sector as it is critical to the growth and survival of the economy of the country. The candidate said that his experience over the years as a former Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, former Governor and former Minister of Defense had availed him with some basic understanding of the maritime sector and especially some of its challenges.
Optimistic that being here today and listening to this cream of stakeholders of this all-important industry will help in no small way in our efforts to tackle the challenges of the sector immediately we are voted into office in 2023.
And away from Nigeria, U.S. House of Representatives Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband has been sentenced to 5 days in jail after pleading guilty to drink driving. Paul Pelosi, 82, admitted driving under the influence of alcohol and causing injury after crashing his Porsche in Napa County, California in May 2022. The plea deal spares the multi-millionaire a more serious charge. He will not serve any further jail time under the plea agreement. The night he spent in jail after the crash on 28th of May will count for 2 days. 2 more days were taken off for good behavior, and the final day will be served by doing 8 hours of community service. And in sports news, the General Secretary of the Nigeria Football Federation, Dr. Mohammed Sanusi, says the Falconets missed their flight from Istanbul, Turkey, to Nigeria, adding that they were not stranded in the European nation. Sanusi's claim followed reports that the Falconets, who left Costa Rica, venue of the 2022 Under-20 Women's World Cup, on Monday after crashing out of the competition, were stranded in Istanbul. The players were pictured sleeping on bare floors and chairs at the Istanbul airport, waiting for their flight. Sanusi described the reports as mischievous and misleading, saying that the girls missed their connecting flight, adding that the Falconets have finally boarded a flight to Abuja. And that's a wrap on Trust News Update. Remember, you can watch us live on YouTube and also watch more content via all our social media platforms. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.